going on, but I mentioned the thing in the sidebar about you guys dropping in what you're working on. If you have questions while we're going, those are encouraged. Like by all means, like ask them. But what we'll probably do is pick those up along the way. If you just want to drop them into chat, like that would be the most efficient way, and we can pick those up along the way. So let me pull this deck up, and we'll get cooking. Okay, here we go. Let's make it happen. Terry, you can see everything okay? Okay, cool. Here we go. So yeah, so this is the 0 to 60 basics workshop. This is our opportunity to walk you guys through this weird world that we've set up. Like there are all kinds of interesting things that are happening in here, but we want to give you the lay of the land, and this is a great opportunity also to take questions. So I usually start with this photo here. This is an AI generated picture that I created of a depressed 1970s looking banker. This is a guy who approximates, your parents' financial moves. Like when my folks were my age, that most of their stuff ran through one dude at the bank. So this guy, I call him Hank at the bank, uh, looks worried, probably because he was responsible for, he was like essentially the gatekeeper to making anything move. And now most of us have, give or take, 15 different financial platforms. They don't all talk to each other, and Sequence can help to sort of untangle a lot of that messiness that comes with just a more siloed financial world that we live in. Okay, so a lot of times people will start by asking, all right, what is this thing, right? So it's Sequence is a money map. We'll talk about what that entails. It's also a financial router, and for some, it's even a budgeting tool. So here's what that means. A money map is that visual representation of the way that your money moves around, right? So it comes in, you want to distribute it in a certain way, you want to distribute it using certain rules or under certain situations. Maybe you want to top up an account or round down an account. Maybe you want to set up a rainy day or contribute to your kids' 529s. There are all kinds of things that you can do. We're going to talk about that, but the money map is the visual representation of those opportunities. And then let's talk also about the idea of a financial router. I think to some who are not sort of hyper financial nerds, like that can be a little bit of an imposing word salad sounding phrase, but we go back to that idea that I just mentioned, where a lot of apps today are siloed, and a financial router, kind of like, think of it, sort of like Zapier or if this then that for financial matters. Like we help to break down those walls and unsilo those remote, apps or banks or wherever it is that money is coming from and moving to. And then the budgeting tool thing, this is the easiest way to kind of think about this. And it's like, sometimes I hate to bring up the digital envelope method because it sounds Ramsey-esque, and some people love Dave Ramsey and some people are not a fan. And so this is like, there are a lot of hot takes in this space. This is neither an endorsement or a body slam of Dave Ramsey, but that envelope method, the idea of like budgeting your money before you spend it. So it's like with a lot of budgeting apps, it's like you spend it and then the app will analyze where that money went. Oh, you went to the movies. This goes from your entertainment bucket. What you can actually do with the envelope method is obviously like budget that ahead of time, so you have X amount of dollars just for going to the movies, going out to eat, stuff like that. As an example, people use Sequence for a lot of reasons, like the ones that you're probably thinking of now: vacation funds or emergency funds, bill pay, investments, all of this stuff you can read. But I mean, the other thing is like, we are, full disclosure, seeing a lot more small business owners and solopreneurs and entrepreneurs who are using the platform to help untangle business finances as well. So a lot of the examples on here are like personal finance related, and these absolutely apply. But also bear in mind, we are seeing an uptick in business usage as well. Okay. One of the cool things that we also get a chance to do is build with you guys, like build with the community. So we have a site called, there's a tool that we use called Frill, where people can submit ideas, where things get upvoted or downvoted, or you can comment on things. And we actually, our development and product teams 100% use these to determine what we're going to add to the platform, or how we'll iterate the tools. So highly recommend. And if you want to, like, I'm going to give out my contact information. There's more stuff. Sure that you guys, anybody who wants to contribute to Frill or just look around and see what it is that we're talking about and what's on the roadmap, let me know and we'll get you a link. But yeah, and it's also something that you can get to from the community, which I'll talk about in a little bit. Okay, so there is a show and tell part of this walkthrough, and I am fortunate. I usually am smart enough to thank them at the top of the event, but we had to kind of get the show on the road. So I do want to say thanks to Tara and Colin from our customer service team. They're complete rock stars, and they answer a lot of these questions in the wild. But they joined me for these, and Tara's going to walk us through a couple of things, like setting up an income source, how you link a depository account, creating simple rules, things of that nature. I've got a sort of a little canned video. It moves pretty fast, so we'll cover a lot of stuff. So if there's any of it doesn't make sense to you, or you have questions after you've seen some of it, hit us up in chat and we'll get to it. So I'm going to stop screen sharing. Actually, Tara, since we're going to walk through this on the video, I'll just do it on mine, and then you can unmute and walk us through. Cool?
Sounds good.
Okay, great. One sec, guys. Okay. Here we go.
All right, so right here, this will be what you see when you first create your first sequence. Kevin, can you restart it? I'm going too fast on this.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I forget what a speed demon you are. We have to figure out how to run this at half speed. Okay. So yeah. You ready? Let's try it one more time. All right.
Okay. What this video is going to show, and what Kevin had said, was that we are seeing a lot of businesses use this. So we're just going to walk through on how to add your business and to ensure that you can send and receive funds in your business name. So roll clip.
All right, I'll start it, and then if you want me to pause it at any time, just let me know and I'll stop it. Okay.
Okay. So you're going up to your account, profile, businesses, add a business. You're going to fill in all the information, Tara's business. We may, if we're unable to verify your business information through our compliance team, we may ask you for your EIN document from the IRS, as well as your COI from the state, which is your articles of organization or certificate of incorporation. And you're just going to choose what type of business you're in, your cash flow. I don't even think website is required anymore, but you can just put in whatever you need, and even if you have one. There's the address, phone number. If you have another partner or another owner, you're going to enter their information. As you'll see here, it will ask you all of their information. They won't be added to your account, but regulatory requirements say that we have to include all beneficial owners, anyone who owns more than 25% of the company.
Hey, Tara, I'm going to pause real quick, and I just want to make sure that we talk about this while it's up. Can you speak to making sure that all of your stuff is the same? Making sure that things match, because I think that sometimes is an issue with business owners who are just trying to make sure their stuff gets recognized.
Yeah, and I think that'll be in the next 10 seconds. But yeah, you just want to always make sure that when you're receiving funds, if you are receiving them for Tara Murray, me, that's who they're being sent to. Because if there's any mismatch along the way, the system technically can't find your account, and the payment will get rejected or returned. So play. So as you can see, my business was approved. I added it. Now I'm going to connect an account. You can see at the top, there's the beneficiary. This is where you want to make sure that you update that, change that for your business account. If you're creating a pod, an income source account, anything, you want to make sure that beneficiary is updated so that if a lot of people connect Stripe or Shopify, you're going to want to make sure that the beneficiary is your business if it's your Stripe or Shopify business. So again, like I said, like this is my business income source account, making sure it says Tara's business. Just doing it over and over again. And then that's the one that's my personal one. And that's that.
Cool. Like I say, thanks, Tara. Like I say, if you guys have questions about that, then by all means, hit us up and we're happy to help you figure it out. So I'm going to stop sharing for just one sec. We'll jump back in here. Okay. That video's got a mind of its own. Okay. All right. One thing that we haven't talked about yet is Playground. And so Playground is a space where if for any reason you want to literally play around, it's like basically a sandbox and sequence where you can play around with how you want your money to move and how you want to set up your money map without actually connecting any of your real stuff. They have added some functionality to it somewhat recently. I will say with all transparency, it's not a full exactly apples to apples comparison with the live platform. So it's not going to run exactly the same, but it's pretty close. And if there's a way that you want to set some things up to give yourself a bird's eye view into how you move your money around, or maybe you want to show an example to your significant other or business partner or financial coach, Playground can be a great way to show that off. So anyway, that's there. A few more definitions that we want to cover. We talked about these things in Tara's walkthrough, but just to make sure that you guys have a handle on them, we used to call these ports. Now we just call them income sources. This is any money that is coming from outside of the system into Sequence. That entry point from those external sources is called the income source, appropriately enough. Pods, we talk a lot about pods. These are these sub accounts within Sequence that you set up to, these are the ones that we'll spin up, it automatically spins up a bank account in real time when you create a pod. There are a couple of different ways that you can use pods. One is through manual transfers and one is through setting up rules. So if you want a manual transfer, you just follow these steps right here, go to transactions, then transfer manually, etc. If you want to set up rule, you can set up a rule type and then create conditions for that rule and it'll run. The other thing that we do is there is a rule, essentially a rule view where you can see ad nauseum, all of the different rules that you have set up. And you can also see this is an example of when you have a rule that runs, it's I have mine set up to email me whenever that happens. So it's when they run and when they complete executing, I get a note from those on those that just lets me know that okay, things are happening. There's also a while you were away function that will also give you a heads up to that end. So anyway, lots of different things that you can do. You can obviously set up those rules. You can set up if then statements, right? So it's if A happens, then I want it to do B based upon what your options are. You can round up or round down to accounts. Sometimes this is really handy. Let's say you have a emergency fund or a vacation fund that you want to keep at a certain number at all times, in terms of how much money you keep in there. You have the ability to do that, for example. And then you can also look at your activity overview just to see okay, based on all the rules that I have set up, what's everything that's happened or is scheduled to happen. Okay, liability accounts. these are those, you guys can see, like, these are those open lines of debt, credit cards, student loans, mortgages, all the fun stuff we love. Liability accounts are something that we also reference. And then the depository accounts, those are the external checking and savings accounts that you have connected into the Sequence universe. Tara, because we always want to, I always want to make sure that we touch on this. Can we just talk about standard transfer time so we can set expectations?
Yes. So when it comes to liability accounts, if you connect via method or spin wheel, I usually say set that for 10 days before your due date, at least 10 days, because you are pulling in from a external account, which takes 3 business days to get to Sequence, and then we send it out same day ACH. And then it takes method and spin wheel 1 or 2 business days to process. Plus, you have to account for weekends, holidays, and that can kind of extend the time. If for a liability account that you manually connected, which we can, we can link to our knowledge base article about that because it is pretty in depth. If you connect an account, a liability account manually, those are pretty much, you can have that done same day. So when it comes to, depository and liability accounts, that's your timeline.
Cool. Thank you. Any questions about that, by all means, drop them in the chat and we're happy to talk about it. I know that we do have some stuff that's coming in, so I want to make sure. Some of these are just AI responses. Okay, this is cool. All right, so we'll touch base with on these in just a second, but Joe wants to reduce decision fatigue. Automating your finances or automating your business finances are massive, and can be a huge help. I know that they have been for me, and we'll talk about other examples, but I think that's pretty common. Taylor asks, when I try to set up a rule to move money from one external account to another external account, it says coming soon. Any information on when this might come to fruition? I think that sounds like a transfer time question. Tara, any comments?
Hold on 1 second. I'm logging into my thing because I just wanted to see something. Are they?
Sure.
The question is if they're both connected via Plaid or if they're manually connected.
I'll reread it just one time, and then Corey, we'll pick up your question here in just a second. But Taylor asks, when I try to set up a rule to move money from one external account to another external account, it says coming soon. Any information on when this might come to fruition? I'm not sure what come to fruition exactly means, but I think he means complete. But
I mean, I'm pretty sure you can do that now. I'm not sure why that's not like working. Are they 2 depository accounts is the question. But you shouldn't have a problem moving from one external account to another. It may be dependent. It's like it depends on what kind of rules you're trying to set. That could be the issue.
Taylor, what I'll have you do is just send an we'll share this email address at the end of the deck, but send an email to support@getsequence.io, and that way we'll ask you for if there's something that you're trying to untangle, we'll typically ask you for your associated email address anyway. That way they'll have it. They can get you in the queue and take a look at it. We can see what's going on. Okay. And then Corey, it looks like Colin has picked up your question. In a minute, we'll ask that out loud just so the folks who are streaming in can see it because they won't see the chat. But I do want to make sure that we cover a couple of other things here. Before we get to account administration, why don't we go ahead and take that one just for a second here. Okay, so Corey asked, if I connect the wrong account, how do I add a different one? So basically, it sounds like he's connected an account and then looked at it and was like, oh, okay, maybe this isn't the one that I need to connect. Maybe you want to disconnect it and then connect another one? Colin asked on our side, in response of which sense you can always delete and go back into the add account option. So that sounds like that might be the easiest fix. Corey, you don't just switch them out. You would disconnect the one that you think is the wrong one and then just add a new one. Tara, anything you want to add there?
That's right. That's
Okay,
right.
sweet. And then Joe asked on simulations, plans to add additional sophistication or functionality. Yeah, yes. I will tell you, and Tara, you can corroborate or deny this, but what I have heard is that like the thing about playground, this the sandbox is always sort of the stepchild. Like there, when it comes to making changes or the evolution of the platform, the live platform takes precedence. So it's like they do make changes and they do update um, playground periodically. It just is usually takes a back seat to those changes being made to the live product first. So uh, okay. And then looks like we've got another one from Taylor. This is great. You have a lot of questions. So when I try to set up a rule to move money from one external account to another external account, it says coming soon. Okay, that's the same question. Moving money between two external depository account. Colin is asking based upon incoming funds. It sounds like that conversation is still in play. Joe says he's talking about simulations within the live platform. Okay. Tara, do you have, okay, we're going to go and approve that. Note taker, do you have any updates on the simulations on the live platform?
I mean, they're always working on it, and I can send that over to them. As a feedback, feature request.
Cool. And, for what it's worth, Joe, I mentioned Brill earlier. Let's, one thing that you might do is like make sure that we get you the address to go upvote or downvote or add a feature request, because that's the best way to make sure that it stays on their radar. But that's really great feedback. Awesome. Thank you. Okay. So let's go. We've gotten to the point where we're ready to walk through the account admin. So Tara, I'll let you screen share here and you can show off the dashboard.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, hold on. This is a new computer, so
Oh, that's right. You upgraded. I forgot.
Oh, it's asking. I have to quit and reopen this. Hold on.
Okay. While she's working on that, I do have a sidebar question for you guys. How many of you are business owners? Like, if you're if you are a business owner, an entrepreneur, solopreneur, whatever, if you are, yeah, drop it into chat. Interested to know, because we're just seeing more and more of that. Stands to reason. You guys are all bundled up too. It looks like it's as cold everywhere as it is here. Awesome. Jason, Corey, thank you. Okay, you ready to roll? I think you're muted, Tara. You're on mute.
Sorry, like I said, I just got this new computer, so I didn't have the system sharing installed or set up. So that's what was stopping me.
Okay, no problem.
So this will be what you see when you first log in. This is your sequence map. It will be bare. What we'll do first is you want to first create an income source, which serves as the point of entry for all of your money that comes into sequence. This will come into play here with beneficiary, John Doe, or my business. I'm gonna, have my Shopify earnings come in here. So I'm gonna name it, Shopify sales. And I'm creating that income source. You can see it has a routing number and account number attached to it. There are 3 ways to get money into this income source. You can transfer money manually by connecting a depository account. You can use a salary deposit switch, which is basically connecting to your employer. So if you wanted to use this as your personal beneficiary, you would use the salary deposit switch, or generate a direct deposit PDF, which is a void check that has your account and routing number on there. You can enter an account description here. And then up here is your settings for this. You can turn on a balance alert to have a balance notification sent whenever for a certain amount if it goes above or below. And then also you could deposit a check, and which will walk you through that screen. I'm gonna pull that right up there. Your next options are to connect an account. So if you want to connect your business accounts, you're going to choose Tara's Business. If you want to just connect your personal accounts, you would choose these yourself. Depository account is a like a checking or savings. It will take you and walk you through the steps with Plaid. You will just choose your bank and enter your information. And you would follow the prompts there. Next would be an investment account, so a brokerage or account or 401k. We have a whole section of our knowledge base dedicated on to walkthroughs on the major ones. A liability account would be here. So you have three options: method, spin wheel, or connect manually. Again, we're going to put that knowledge base article in there to show you how to connect manually because it can be confusing. But if you connect manually, you want to make sure that you take the information for that pod that's created and put it into your credit card servicer's auto pay option. So you'll get a routing and account number or a virtual card number, and you'll put that into the auto pay of, like, say, Chase, and have it set to take out a certain amount every month. Lastly, you can do a destination account. So if you just want to send money to somebody, you're just going to enter their name, routing number, account number, checking or savings, submit it, and you can just send money to that account. Last are pods. Again, these are sub accounts. So whenever you connect a liability manually, we create a pod for you, and it will be labeled like Chase credit card. And that is how you will pay that, service or loan. Or you can use it as a rainy day fund. I've seen people use them to pay their Netflix every month, so that it's just Netflix just takes from that. So we'll just name this one Netflix subscription. Beneficiary is me, it's not my business, and we'll create that pod. And there we have all of the simple, income source and pod. Just to go through this screen real quick, we have templates down here, which will take you through all of the steps to get to these goals should you want to do that. Over here is just your money map to get back to it. Your activity log, which will show you all of your activity. I have no activity because this is a playground area. And you can also transfer manually here. Your account list will be here. This is all the accounts I've created and deleted. And then these are rules that I have had set that are not on. But if you click on them, you can see the actual rule. So, and that's it for this part.
Awesome. Amazing. Thank you. Okay. And again, same thing. We flew through a lot there. So if there are questions that you guys have, feel free to drop those in the chat and we will pick them up accordingly. Got a couple of things that I also want to show you that I'm excited about. So I teased this a little while ago, but occasionally, just to give you a sense of I usually talk about money maps, they're a little bit of art and a little bit of science. And I think that that's really true. And this is a great example. Now, some of these are pretty crazy ambitious. And we do occasionally we host what we call money map spotlights, where we ask expert users to come on and show us their money map setup and how it is they've set things up and what both their strategy and their tactics were, and talk about how it's working for them, and they take questions. We have one of those coming up, I think February 18th. So we got a little bit of time before that happens. But anyway, as an example, just to show you kind of this is a crazy example, and this is the one that I end up talking about the most. Down here in the lower right-hand corner is the money map that Neil, one of the power users on the platform, put together. Neil is a pretty interesting story. He's a super smart guy working 2 full-time IT jobs. So here are his income ports right here, where these income sources are bringing the money in from his 2 jobs. But Neil also battles ADHD. And so his challenge was that he was trying to manage all this through spreadsheets for the longest time. And he found that some of his credit cards, for example, were billing him 13 times a year instead of 12. And so his due date would move around a little bit. So he's constantly kind of getting dinged with late fees. And through Sequence, he was able to automate all of that kind of through this clearinghouse pod that he set up. And he took what he would otherwise be paying in late fees and funneled it into like essentially like a fun pod or a vacation pod or whatever. What it really was gas money. He saved $1,000 in gas money and took a motorcycle trip across the U.S. with what he would have been paying to credit card companies in garbage fees, and he raised his credit score 35 points in 3 months. That may be an extreme situation. It's obviously like an individual situation versus a business one, but it is a powerful reminder of the different kind of things that you can achieve just through the power of automating and setting it and not forgetting it, but not having to babysit it quite as much. So anyway, stay tuned for that. Questions that we hear all the time. We talked a little bit earlier about how long transfers take. Again, Tara said, like, if you're really concerned about it, give yourself 10 business days, but generally speaking, it really kind of depends on where it's coming from and where it's going to. Tara, just nod if that's accurate. Like, cool. And then setting up joint or co-ownership, she mentioned that. You can set up joint or co-ownership. Bear in mind, and this also goes for like spouses or whatever, just be sure. Like, you want to make sure, like, they're hard to unwind. So you want to make sure that when you set up joint or co-ownership, that you do so with the intent that you're going to be there for that you're cool with that being the case for a long time. I would also we also talked a little bit about manual liabilities and the things that you need to bear in mind with manual liabilities. Tara, anything specific to manual liabilities you want people to take away as the top takeaway there? You're muted.
Just make sure that you set up the auto pay. I think a lot of people forget that they create all these rules and the money goes to the pod, but they don't have the auto pay set up on their credit card to take the money out, so it's just piling up. And you just make sure you set up the auto pay.
Cool. And then if I still have questions, where can I raise my hand? We're going to show you a bunch of places, but I also want to show something else first. Tara mentioned this a little bit earlier, that we do have templates. This is a really good place to start. So it's like, especially for personal finance users, but also like one of the most popular strategies that folks ran in 2024 was profit first. So also applies to entrepreneurs. Just bear in mind, like, if you're looking at all this and trying to figure out where to start, you're not exactly sure. It really depends on what you want to do, and there is some scaffolding in place to help you get up on wheels and get moving sooner than later. So when you'll find those templates when you log in and are setting up your Sequence account. I mentioned also those most popular strategies. These are from the previous 12 months, but then again, we were still in that as of a week ago. So tax savings, debt repayment strategies, big for a lot of people, and then also profit first. Okay, so I did want to do something that we don't usually do, and some of you guys may have seen this when it came through and hit your inbox, but no time like the present, especially since this is January 8th, just to quickly run. Let me pull this up real quick. Okay. Oh, sorry. Here, one sec. Let's try this again. Okay, we are screen sharing. Sorry, guys. Here we go. Pardon my shenanigans. All right, I'm going to back it up. We're going to roll it. Here we go. Okay, so I'm not going to make you watch Nick's thing, which comes up next. But the the gist of it is we're excited about a lot of what's happening here, and you guys are a big part of that. Um, there's just a couple more things that I want to make sure that we cover. So we had a guy raise his hand in the community recently who was confused about how many transfers you get with different plans. And so I wanted to make sure that we included touching on that in these basics workshops where you guys are getting comfortable with how this works. By the way, like it's showing the monthly pricing. You can also get annual pricing where you get a break for committing for longer. But Tara, do you want to just touch on how many transfers you get with the different plans, and just so everybody's clear on what constitutes a transfer and so on?
Yep. So the first one is your starter plan. You're only going to get 10 external transfers a month. So external transfers are from an income. So a direct deposit would not be considered a transfer. If you pull money into, if you want to send from one external account to another external account, that is going to be 2 transfers right there. If you go from pod to pod or income source to pod, that's not considered a transfer. External transfer. Next, you have your professional, and you get 25 external transfers per month. Unlimited internal transfers, like I said, you get direct deposit coded transfers, and you can get paid up to 2 days early and 1% cash back with the Sequence virtual debit card. The business and personal, you get to add the business beneficiaries. You can only add a business on the business and personal plan. Like you have to be on that plan in order to add your business. 100 external transfers a month, unlimited internal. You get paid up to 2 days early, direct deposit code transfers, and 1% cash back.
Cool. Yeah, really, ultimately, I guess the big takeaway is like internal transfers inside a sequence are always like unlimited. So it doesn't really matter what plan you're on. It only really comes into play when you're talking about those external transfers and then understanding what your limits are. The system will automatically notify you if you reach if you reach that threshold. But if you have a handle on how the system works and what plan you're on, it's easy to make sure that there are no surprises. So I just wanted to make sure that we talked about that out loud. Um, I mentioned earlier that we host events like these. We do these basics workshops every couple of weeks. So by all means, like, hey, let me just say, if you go through what we talked about today and you want another refresher, you want to make sure that you stay comfortable, sign up for the next one. We'll do another one of these in a couple of weeks. I mentioned the money map spotlight that we have coming up on February 18th. I didn't add that into this calendar, but you can get hooked up with everything that we're doing at lu.ma/sequence, which is where all of our events are posted at one point or another. We do have kind of a cool thing that we're rolling out a new series that starts on January 30th called Community Mastermind, where we have some of those super smart users who put together pretty interesting ideas and who are super helpful in the community, who are walking through these different they're basically going to teach a short class on something that they're an expert in. So Jeremiah, who is super visible in the Discord community, Jeremiah Haremza is a crazy, silly, smart guy, like just like to a ridiculous degree. But he's going to be putting together. He is putting together an event on understanding credit scores. So anyway, if for anybody who's interested in learning more about shortcuts or quick best practices to lifting your credit score, that's coming. All kinds of other stuff on the horizon. But if you have questions about any of it, you can ping me or hit us up on the event calendar. And then we also talked a little bit about the Discord community was also mentioned in that video. The gist is that we've got upside of 1,500 members in the community. We do host AMAs in there with leadership, so it's a great opportunity. Like even beyond Frill, if you want to. We hosted one yesterday. We've got another one. They're usually around the middle of the month. So the next one will be with the Sequence CTO, Oren Rubani, who's super great at these. And so if you have questions about how your platform works or something that you would love to see us add, or you just want to lurk and learn, those are really great opportunities. And there are also just a bunch of smart members in there who are really terrific about taking time out to answer questions. I'm there, Colin's there, Tara's there, leadership is in there. Our product team and dev team stop by. So it's a great opportunity for you to get comfortable with what we have going on in the Discord community. That's the greatest part of our community. And also, obviously, you can hit it from that QR code, or there's an invite code, which I really need to customize because it kind of looks like word salad. I also have we've also spun up a nascent Facebook community called Black Belt Budget. We'll post articles in there, and occasionally I'll throw out questions. It's pretty small, but it gives us an opportunity to explore some things that maybe might get lost in the fray in our larger Discord community. So welcome you to check out Black Belt Budget as well. Few things to take away here. The first one is my email address. Feel free to drop me a line if I can be helpful or support you in any way. In Discord, this is exactly how our handles look for everybody that's on this call. Kevin from Sequence, Tara from Sequence, and Colin from Sequence are all in there. If you need help, like, so we get through all of this and you're like, I don't know, there's something I still don't have my head around, or I want to try this funky creative idea and I didn't see you guys talk about it exactly, send us a note to support@getsequence.io. And that's a great way to make sure that it gets on the radar of our CS team. And then if you want it, we've got just boatloads of self-help videos and how-to videos on our YouTube channel, which is at Get Sequence. So anyway, let's make sure that before we head out, I see that there are some questions in here, and we'll just try and take these before the end here. Because if somebody is streaming here, they won't see everything that's in the chat. I want to make sure that I mention some of these. I see that Taylor's question has a bunch of back and forth between callers. Taylor asked, when I try to set up a rule to move money from one external account to another external account, it says coming soon. Okay, that's that same one we touched on earlier. Ultimately, it looks like, yeah, there's sort of a lot of back and forth here. The main takeaway is that there are things that we're iterating on this platform all the time, dev, and there also, by the way, there's also a product releases channel in Discord where we will specifically call out new additions to the platform or updates to the platform that are designed to make your life easier. So if you get into Discord, I highly recommend babysitting that channel, and then there's a release discussion channel that sits right under it where it's like people can give their feedback based upon what those changes are. So we try to make sure that we're being as transparent as possible with these. Oh yeah, 100% Jason on Neil's crazy money map. Yeah, it's impressive. It's mind-boggling. Okay, so Joe asked, is there TOD, POD pod functionality? I've looked but haven't found it. And so, Tara, let me make sure, like, are you responding to Joe's question, or is that just regarding what you had? And yeah, Joe, if you'll just drop into chat your the anagram.
If someone debits your account, like if your bank, you give your bank the account and routing number to your account, that doesn't count as and they take your mortgage, that doesn't count as an external transfer. No.
Cool. Tara dropped in different investment account specifics. I assume that all of these are knowledge-based stuff. What I'll also do is drop these into in Discord. I'll drop them into the resources channel just so folks have access to them. So, and you can always, even if, like, worst case scenario, if you just run a quick search for knowledge base get sequence, it'll take you directly to a link. There's a link for the knowledge base that'll pull up. We're constantly, Tara steers that. We're constantly adding to it all the time. based on the questions that we received. Jason raised his hand. Sure, Jason, you can either unmute or drop it in chat, whatever's easy.
Hi guys.
Hey,
Sorry, I joined a little late, so I don't know if this was like covered already. I'm like, like very new. I'm like a newer entrepreneur. I've been doing it for like 2 years and stuff like that. And
cool.
so I'm making a little bit of money now, and I'm trying to like automate it. And so like, from what I understand, I think you can like you can set up these automations like with your bank, right? But just like the main is like the main benefit of this platform, right? Sequence is that you can like visually see everything, right?
I mean, it's one of the main benefits. Tara or Colin, feel free to jump in. Like, Sequence itself is not a bank. Like, we're the connective tissue between point A and point B. To one of the things, so if you got in a little bit late, I don't know what slide, but I mean, basically part of the deal is like we help to unsilo some of those standalone institutions that don't always see each other or work together. Um, CS guys, welcome your thoughts. You guys answer questions like this one all the time. Terry, you might be muted.
Sorry, I was reading something else. What was the question again?
Well, so the question had more to do with like as a new entrepreneur, he's just trying to get his head around like the role that Sequence plays.
Thick. It's very thicker than this. Thicker than that. Yeah. It's thicker than this. It's completely rounded off like the iPhone, like 15 or 16.
Yeah.
They're flat. The edges are flat.
Taylor,
It's
you might
and
not
got
be
bigger
muted.
cameras, just a little bit bigger, and they're
And
black.
they made the phone thicker.
Yeah, to me it looks like an A series phone, but it's not. It doesn't feel like.
Wonder why they made it thicker. Like I put a bigger battery in it.
It's about all right, guys. I might get you to.
That's something people never do.
Yeah, I might get you guys to make sure that you mute if you don't mind. So.
I think the host can manually mute them.
Yeah, I'm working on that. Here, hang on.
How about you just roll it? How about just roll it next week? He's right.
Hey Taylor, can you?
This is I work with this.
I'm gonna stop sharing. So let's try this again.
That's it. That's it. That's what it looks like.
Okay, there we go. Anyway, hard to be popular. All right, so yeah, like basically speaking, Tara, do you want to talk about the difference between what Sequence is and what a bank is? And Jason, I want to make sure that I'm encapsulating your question, so feel free to rephrase it if you want.
Yeah, that's perfect. I'm like new to this. It's like a very beginner question.
I mean, the difference between us and a bank is like you can create the rules to have everything set up. Like right now, we see a lot of people who have like tons of bank accounts, and tons of like bank accounts for their business and bank accounts for their personal, and they get very confused, and they want to be able to just have it kind of set it and forget it. So they have their, say, Shopify come in and they have a rule set to send 10% to a tax pod, and that'll be their taxes for when they pay. Or, they never have to worry about their Netflix subscription. Or like Kevin had said about Neil, he ended up saving a ton of money and paying off a ton of credit card debt. I think it's one of the things that I think is a big point is that when you're paying your bills, I think that's why like people are always feel like they're paying their bills because they're not really paying it down. And one of the methods that you can use is an avalanche snowball method. And we have the template for that, which can walk you through on how to do that. And that's how a lot of people have paid down their debt and gotten rid of, credit card balances. So, I mean, there's so many different ways you can use it and so many different things you can do. My husband handles all our finances, so I couldn't tell you.
I have a quick follow-up question.
Yeah.
Shoot.
So like right now I'm paying off. I think I set up auto pay for my business credit card, right? Like, does that work? Do I need to like if I was to do it in Sequence, do I stop the auto pay from Chase and then just do it in Sequence, or do I do both, or like how does that work?
So if your credit card is, if you have a Chase business credit card, you can have the auto pay to set up to come out of Sequence, and you could have a rule that sets a certain amount of your income to go to that specific pod, which then Chase credit card will take your monthly payment out from there.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Make sense? Cool. All right. I want to pick up another couple of these questions. We've actually run a little bit long, but this is great. So I want to make sure that we get these while we can. Again, for the people who are streaming, since they can't see the questions that you guys are submitting, Joe asked, what about a withdrawal that is initiated by a payee? Like if I set up auto pay that's initiated to my bank to pay my mortgage. Colin responded, as in a debit charged to a virtual card, for example, that won't count as an external transfer. So again, if we're talking about external transfer accounts, that is something that it really is mostly a concern of people who are doing a heavy number of transfers. If you have have set up your circadian rhythms, financially speaking, and you know that you're going to have a regular set number of transfers, it's pretty easy to keep a handle on that. But yeah, we have people who push the envelope all the time. So that definitely does happen. Payable on death. Got it. Thanks for the explanation, Joe. So he asked, is there POD functionality? I've looked but haven't found it. Joe, do you want to, if you're still here, do you want to unmute and just clarify that a little bit so we can make sure we're answering the question that you're actually asking? It says you're unmuted, but I can't hear you. So
What about now?
perfect. Thank you.
I'm just wondering, on all of our other financial and investment accounts, we have beneficiary designations that line up with our family's estate plan. And so I'm creating all these pods, I'm creating a bunch of bank accounts. And if my wife and I both die, I don't want our kids or the trustees for our kids to have to probate all those accounts. I was hoping we could name our trust as beneficiary and have that flow and avoid probate. So that's my question.
Okay.
I can follow up with our compliance and banking team on that, because that is a great question, and I feel like we're going to see more of that. So I can follow up with them and then reach back out to you.
Great, thank you.
All right, we're on the hook. It is a great question. Thank you for asking it, Joe. Stephanie asked, how often will we need to reconnect our liabilities? Because I know mine are disconnected. So she had some liabilities that got disconnected. Tara responded that she can take a look and follow up. Some liabilities are finicky. That's true. And their security settings sometimes want you to re-authenticate every 24 hours. That is an intense level of oversight. But yeah, it does vary. So Stephanie will put you on the list for Tara to touch base with you too, so we can take a closer look at what's going on there. That's just a follow up. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I can figure out how to raise my hand.
No problem.
Just because I know that, so there is a slight learning curve to this platform, and as a business owner, like our time is so limited, so I want to get the most use out of this. Is there any way that, is there like customer service or someone we can talk to over the phone to help us or to troubleshoot? Because I feel like I've done an initial setup, but sometimes there's still like things that I just need to, kind of get done and make sure it's like, is there anything
Yeah,
like
we
that?
can set you up with a one-on-one call with one of our experts, and they can like walk through everything with you and like help you set up your rules and go through your goals and help you do that.
Okay.
Right. And I can send you the link to that.
Okay, awesome. Yay.
Yeah, and Stephanie, like you bring up a really good point. Like it's not complicated, but there is a rhythm to getting in sync with the way that sequence works. And I think once you get the hang of it, it's really straightforward. But yeah, it's not built exactly like every other platform. So happy to help. And thank you for asking. Cool. Okay. And then Noi adds, my initial goals for using Sequence are A, creating better budgeting for our small business, and B, applying a profit first approach. Are there any templates, best practices that can help me get this up and running quickly? We did talk on a couple of occasions today about profit first. So definitely, Noi, check out that template option. Colin mentioned that as well. And then Jason's last question, do you guys have an affiliate program? I know that we are working on one. I don't know if it's rolled out yet, but hit me up, Jason, and we'll connect. I'll connect you with the person that's in charge of that. And Yeah, it's absolutely something that we get asked from time to time. It's something we want to do.
I found you guys through Instagram ads. I think I was on
Yep.
Instagram ads and I was like, oh, cool. But yeah, because I thought it was very interesting. I think you guys have a really cool software, and I do like software stuff on YouTube. So I would like love to make content for you guys. If I end up using this and I really liking it, then that would be dope.
Yeah, sure. We'll talk about it for sure. Awesome. Well, we booked 45 minutes and we have gone straight through for an hour. You guys have asked dynamite questions, including some that we need to follow up on. So Joe and Stephanie and Jason we'll bug you guys. Noy and Corey, everybody, thank you so much for all the questions that you asked today. If you saw our contact information, so please feel free to raise your hand or reach out if you need help. Again, also a whole bunch of people who are whip smart in the community who are happy to help and answer questions. So we're here for you. We want you to get comfortable. And the joke that I always make at the end of these, what is it they say when you get off a flight? We know you have choices when you fly. We appreciate you spending some time with us. I hope this was really helpful, and let us know how we can continue to support you guys. In the meantime, I hope you have a really great rest of the week, and thank you. And we'll put the recording up as well in the event recording section of the community as soon as it compiles. So thanks, y'all. Enjoy.